In this video, I'm going to be going through a higher AQA paper for you, and we managed to get the whole thing done in under 25 minutes, which is less than a third of the time you're normally given to do these papers. So by watching the whole of this video, you can almost save yourself an hour's worth of revision. I would again recommend pausing the video before I attempt the questions just to make sure you can give them a go, and good luck if you do so. Thank you for watching, and I hope you enjoy. Today we're going to be looking at an AQA GCSE Maths higher non-calculator paper. Question 1. Circle the fraction is equivalent to 4.75. Now the best way I would do this, I know that 5 is going to be equal to 20 over 4, and we want 1/4 less than that, so it's going to be 19 over 4, so this one. Here is a vector A, circle the column vector that represents A. A goes 3 to the right and 2 down, meaning it's going to be 3 minus 2. Which of these is a square number and a cube number? That is going to be a million, because 1,000 squared and 100 cubed both equal a million. Circle the reciprocal of 5 over 6, we just flip the fraction. Reciprocal means to flip. Use trigonometry to work out the size of angle x. So straight away I can notice we have an A and a H. So we're going to be using cos, and we want to find out x. So cos of x is going to be 9 over 18. And we have to use our exact trig values here, because if we simplify that fraction, cos x is equal to a half. The way I like to do these is I set up this triangle here, 90 here, 30 there, 60 there. If this is 1, this one's 2, this becomes root 3 by Pythagoras. I recommend you check that out. So if we want to use the 1 over 2 as our A and H, that would mean that 60 has to be our angle. So 60 degrees is our angle for that one. Graph A and B are scatter graphs. What type of correlation is shown by each graph? So graph A, we have first of all a negative, and that is quite a strong negative. So we write that down for that answer. And graph B is no correlation at all. Just to save the time, I won't bother writing that down. Here is some information about 80 people who play in bands. 12 are singers but not guitar players. 30% are neither a singer nor a guitar player, and 1/4 of the guitar players are also singers. Complete the Venn diagram to represent the information. So we have to get 80 people in here. We know that 12 people are singers but not guitar, so we can put in there. 30% are neither a singer nor a guitar player, so 30% of 80. 10% is going to be 8, so 30% is going to be 24, so that can go in the box outside. So now that we've put the 12 and the 24 in, that adds up to 36 people, leaving us still with 44. So if there's 44 left, 1/4 of the guitar players are also singers. There must be 44 guitar players, so that means 11 must go in there, and 33 must go in there. This space would be provided to write down workings such as this, and all of this stuff here, just to secure those 4 marks. The shorter side of a parallelogram has length 6.5 centimeters. The length of the shorter side is 1/9 of the perimeter. Work out the length of the longer side. So 6.5 equals 1/9 of the perimeter. So if 6.5 accounts for 1/9 of the perimeter, then the whole perimeter must be 6.5 times by 9, which is going to be 58.5. Now, using the perimeter, we know that it's going to be 6.5 plus 6.5 plus x, and that is going to be equal to 58.5. So if we simplify this down a little bit, we're going to have 13 plus 2x equals 58.5. If we take away 13 from both sides, we're going to have 45.5, and then half of that, we're going to have 22.75 centimeters, and that is going to be our final answer. All the terms of a geometric progression are positive. The second and fourth terms are shown. Geometric means we multiply or divide between each rule. Work out the first and third terms. So straight away here, I've noticed to get from here to here to here, we've multiplied by 4, so that means this must be 2, this must be 2, which means this also must be 2. So we have 2 and 8 as our final answers. You could do workings such as 4 divided by 2, and then 4 times 2 to get the 2 values there. The first 2 terms of an arithmetic progression are shown. Arithmetic, we add or subtract between terms. So the difference between the first and the second term is going to have to be the same between the second and the third term. So 5p take away p is 4p, which means that the next term must be 9p. And then using this, we know that p plus 5p plus 9p is equal to 90. So adding those up, we're going to get 15p equals 90, so p equals 6. And that's our final answer there. The cost of a holiday is 2,400. Rana pays a deposit followed by monthly payments in the ratio of this. She makes 6 equal monthly payments. Work out her monthly payment. Well, straight away, this ratio, share that into the 2,400. So 2,400 divided by the sum of the ratio, that's going to be 300, because 2,400 divided by 8. Now, £900 of that is the deposit. And then if we multiply this by 5, that's going to be 1,500 for the monthly payments. We then want to do the 1,500 divided by 6, work out how many times 6 goes into that. So 0, carry the 1, 2, with 3 left over, so it's going to be £250. As a decimal, 11 over 40 equals 0.275. Work out 33 over 400 as a decimal based off this. Well, using this, if we do 11 over 400, that's just going to make it 10 times smaller. So it's going to be 0.0275. And then 33 over 400 is going to be 3 times that. So 275 times by 3, we have 15, we have 22, and we have 8. So it's going to be 0.0825, just like that. 2 wire shapes make an earring. The shapes are a circle with radius 21, I'll just label that on, and a quarter circle. The radius of the circle to the radius of the quarter circle is 7 to 2. Show that the radius of the quarter circle is 6 millimeters. Well, if we're sharing in the ratio 7 to 2, and the 7 is 21, then we have multiplied by 3 to get there, so we have to multiply by 3 on this side, which is going to leave us to 6. Work out the total length of the wire in the earring. Give your answer in the form a pi plus b, where a and b are integers. So going back to this, we have 21 and we have 6. So I'll split this up into 1 and 2, just to keep it easy. The total length is just going to be the circumference of the big circle, first of all. So 1, we're going to have pi times diameter. Now the diameter must be 42, so it's just going to be 42 pi. Nice and easy. For the second one, what you have to be careful of here is these values here are going to be 6, because they won't be included in the circumference calculations. So it's going to be 12, because 6 adds 6, plus pi times the diameter divided by 4, because it's a quarter circle. So the pi times diameter is going to be 12 pi. Divide that by 4, so it's going to be 12 plus 3 pi. And then if we add these together, we have 45 pi plus 12, and that's going to be our final answer. S and t are positive integers. This is expanded and simplified. The answer is this, where k is a positive integer. Work out the smallest possible value of k. So I'm going to start off just by writing our double bracket out. And we know that equals x squared plus kx minus 40. So by kind of using a method called comparing coefficients here, we know that s multiplied by minus t is equal to minus 40. So from here, s and t could be a whole range of values. We want k to be a positive number, so the difference between s and t has to be positive. In which case, we could have 8 and a minus 5. Alternatively, we could have a 10 and a minus 4. This one has the smallest difference, so k would have to be a positive 3, and that will be our answer. Tries to solve a quadratic. Here is his working. Give a reason why his answer is wrong. Now straight away here, this value is correct, x does equal 7, but to make that bracket equal 0, would need x to be minus 2, not positive 2. Because if you were to sub positive 2 into there, that makes 4, not 0. Here it looks like we have some indices laws. We need to work out 18c. So straight away, 18c is going to be 18 lots of 2 to the 10 times 3 times 5 to the 6. 18 we can write as 3 squared times 2, and then it's going to be multiplied by 2 to the 10 times 3 times 5 to the 6. And then just by using our indices laws, we can collect up these respective terms, and our final answer will be 2 to the 11 times 3 cubed times 5 to the 6, and that will be our final answer. Work out the cube root of this. We can simplify with this, so it's going to be the cube root of 2 to the 6 times 11 cubed. And the cube root of that is basically going to be dividing those numbers by 3, ultimately. Because for those of you that do know this, we could also write this as the power of a third, which also means cube root. And then we multiply those powers across. So it's going to be 2 to the 2 multiplied by 11, and that's 4 times 11, which is equal to 44 because they want our answer as an integer. 3x equals half y. Circle the ratio of x to y. If we just multiply this by 2, we're going to get 6x equals y, so it's going to be in the ratio 6 to 1. A bit of iteration here. For those of you that haven't done it, this is what it's going to look like. Work out the values of u2 and u3. Well, to get u2, we're going to have to do 4 over u1 minus 1, which is going to be 8, which is a half. u3 is going to be 4 over, then we use this value and sub that in instead, so it's going to be a half minus 1, which is minus a half. So our value is going to be minus 8, and that is going to be both our values, a half and minus 8. Jim buys a plant of height 20 centimeters. The graph shows how the height of the plant changes during the next 4 days. Work out the formula for h in terms of n. So whenever you see a question where we need to find a formula or an equation and it's got a graph, think of y equals mx plus c. Our c value is our y-intercept. That's going to be 20. So I'm just going to write that first. And then it's going to be plus whatever the gradient of that graph is multiplied by n. So something n, and we're going to find out what that number is. Creating a triangle because it's a straight line. Our change in y, that looks like 32 there. This is 20, so our value is 12. And across the bottom we have a difference of 4. So 12 divided by 4 is going to be a gradient of 3, and that's going to be 3n. So that's going to be our answer. Solve the simultaneous equations. So a lot of people look at this and it might be substitution, but what you'll find is if we just rearrange something quickly, then we don't actually have to do substitution. So we have minus 4x add 2y equals minus 7 if we bring that across. So we can ignore this one now. And then you'll find if we multiply this one by 2, this is going to be minus 8x plus 4y equals minus 14. If I rewrite the other one on top, you'll notice the y's are now the same. So we can take them away to cancel out the y's, leaving us with 10x equals minus 9 minus minus 14 means add 14, so 5. So x equals 0.5. And then substituting it back in to, for example, the top one, 2 lots of 0.5, add 4y equals minus 9. So that's 1 plus 4y equals minus 9. If we take away that 1, we have 4y equals minus 10. So y is going to be minus 2.5. So x is a half and y is minus 2.5. Circle the expression that is equivalent to this. Now straight away I've noticed we can make a common denominator here. If we multiply that whole thing by 2, we're left with this, which is going to be 3x over 10. And as you can see, that's one of our options. Anything to the power of 0 is equal to 1. And work out the value of 32 to the minus 3 over 5. Now whenever we have a negative indice, we want to reciprocate the number. So 1 over 32 to the power of 3 over 5. The fifth root of 32 is going to be 2. So it's 1 over 2 to the power of 3, which is 1 over 8. Write these numbers in order of size. Start with the smallest. I think it might be best if we use approximations and try and get them all into a decimal like the first one. For this one here at the end, it's going to be 15.6 recurring. Now think about it, 48 divided by 3 is 16, and a third is 0.3 recurring. So if you minus them from each other, you're going to get that. That's how I've worked that one out. 2.1 to the 4, well, 2 to the 4 is 16, so 2.1 to the 4 is going to be just bigger than 16, but not massively bigger. 3 root 23. Now root 23 we can approximate this because we know root 16 equals 4. We know root 25 equals 5. So root 23, my guess would be around about 4.8. If we do 3 times by 4.8, that's going to be just shy of 15, so 14 point something. Now using this, it makes it quite clear because we know that the smallest one is the 14 one, so 3 root 23. The next one is going to be 15.6. 15.6 recurring is slightly bigger than that. And then finally 2.1 to the 4 is going to be the biggest. Y is directly proportional to x cubed. So straight away setting this up, make it an equation by introducing a scale factor. When y is 17, x equals 4. We can use that to work out the scale factor. 4 cubed is going to be 64. So k equals 17 over 64. Work out an equation connecting y and x. So we then use that, substitute it back into here, and that will be our final answer. Y equals 17 over 64 x cubed. That is our equation linking y and x. M is inversely proportional to the root of r. So k over the square root of r. We're going to have two scenarios here. Let's let r equal 4 and r equal 16 when it's been multiplied by 4. If we substitute that in, m equals k over root 4, which is 2. If we try it when r is 16, it's going to be m equals k over the square root of 16, which is 4. So as you can see, what's actually happened here is m has been divided by 2 as r has been multiplied by 4. So it will be this answer here. ABCD is a quadrilateral. Prove that ABCD is not a cyclic quadrilateral. Now, cyclic quadrilateral means that the opposite angles add up to 180. So if we use this scenario here, in theory, 180 minus 92 should equal 4x. Now 180 minus 92 is equal to 88. So x is 22 in that case. So if it works when x is 22 here, then it should be a cyclic quadrilateral. So we're going to use kind of like a counterexample to prove that this doesn't work. So 5 lots of 22 plus 30 is going to be equal to 110 add 30, which equals 140. So in theory, 180 minus that should equal 40. So does x plus 36 equal 40? Well, we know x is 22. Adding 36 to that equals 58, which does not equal 40, so therefore not a cyclic quadrilateral. Again, at the start, it might be worth making a note that cyclic quadrilaterals, the opposite angles add up to 180. I know I didn't put that, but that's just to save time. But I would recommend putting that if you want to in the exam as well. Y is an obtuse angle. Which statement is true? This is a pretty difficult question, to be honest. It's talking about sin and cos graphs. So if we just draw the sin and the cos graphs, the sin one starts at the middle and goes up, and the cos one starts at the top and goes down. Now, y is obtuse. That means it's between 90 and 180. 90 on this graph is between here and here, and 90 is here and 180 is here on the cos graph. So as you can see, when it's obtuse, it is bigger than 0. And for the cos graph, it is less than 0 because all of this is negative. So we need to find the one where it's greater than 0 for sin, which is any of these two, but it is less than 0, so it's going to be this one here, so we tick that box there. A histogram is drawn to represent the heights of a sample of women. 3 of the 4 bars are shown. The bar for 170 to 180 is missing. There are 74 women in the sample. Complete the histogram. So we're missing a little bar at the end. Now the area of each of the bars is the frequency, or the number of people in the sample basically. So I'm going to label these 1, 2 and 3. For number 1 we have 5 multiplied by 2, which equals 10. So 10 people are in that category. For 2 we have 10 as the class width multiplied by 3, which is 30. And for 3, we have 5 multiplied by 4, which is equal to 20. Adding all those up, we have 60, and 74 minus 60 leaves 14 people. We want the bar of 170 to 180, which has a class width of 10, which means the height must be 1.4. So we would draw that in line with there, and it would look like that. And let's just shade it in to make it nice and clear. So there is our answer. Show that this can be written in the form a root b. So rationalising the denominator when we have this, what we want to do is just multiply by the root at the bottom, and we're going to get 14 root 7 over 7. That is simply our answer. Work out this and give your answer as an integer. Now straight away I've noticed most of those can be simplified. So 2 root 10 multiplied by root 80, we need to find the biggest square number that goes into it. I think the biggest square number there is going to be 16. So we can write that as root 16 root 5, and we're going to simplify that in a minute. And root 18 can have 9 into it, so root 9 and root 2. So 2 root 10 multiplied by root 16 is 4 root 5, and root 9 is 3 root 2. Multiplying all that together, the numbers first of all, 2 times 4 times 3 is 24, and the roots are going to be root 100. And from there we know the square root of 100 is 10, so it's going to be 240 as our final answer. A and B are solid, similar cylinders. The ratio of the area of A to the area of B is 9 to 25. Complete these ratios. The curved surface area is going to have the same ratio because we're still on about the area scale factor, but the height is going to be 3 to 5 because we want to square root it to work out the normal scale factor. And factorise this fully. Whenever you see a difference between two square values, we do the difference of two squares. This is probably the most common missed mark I ever see on papers because people just don't think of it. Simple answer, we just square root both of them. One's positive, one's negative. That is our answer. The graph of y equals x cubed plus 6 is translated 4 units to the right. The translated graph has equation y equals f of x, and we need to work out what f of x is. Now, if it's a translation of 4 to the right, that's going to be f of x minus 4. So what we would do is we substitute that in. So it's going to be x minus 4 cubed, add 6. So for those of you that haven't seen a cubic before being expanded, it's the same as a quadratic, we just have 4 brackets. So the best way to deal with it is we just do 2 of them first, so x squared minus 8x plus 16, but then we have to multiply all that by an extra bracket. So y equals x cubed minus 4x squared minus 8x squared. So all I'm doing is kind of the claw method, but 3 times with all the different numbers, just like that. Plus 32x, add 16x, minus 64. Add 6 at the end, because this one follows through. So y equals x cubed minus 12x squared, add 48x, and then minus 64, add 6 is going to be minus 58. And that's going to be our answer there. And that is the end of the higher paper.